Ed Cox is on the phone right now, the Republican Committee Chair statewide. Ed, welcome back to the show. How are you?
It's good to be back with you again. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ed.
Yes, we were talking about Donald Trump earlier. I don't know if you heard this, but he's got a rally in Vermont tonight. He gave away 20,000 tickets. The venue only seats 1,400.
Yeah, well,
you headed there right after
large
Utica?
crowds and a lot of attention, and I have to tell you, he's doing very well in the polls. He's our front runner at the moment.
Right. Not sure everyone agrees with all his policies, but he's certainly got the name out there. And now he's spending a lot of that cash on some advertising as well.
Well, we'll see if he's actually spending it. He said he would be spending it. So far, he hasn't had to spend it. He's doing very well without spending any money, just through earned media and getting a lot of attention for his program.
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. Not everyone agrees, but that's true. It's about any political person who's trying to be effective. Not everyone's going to agree with them.
And another flap that Mark Walber, our legal correspondent, brought up is Ted Cruz, born in Canada, then unable to assume the presidency here in the United States.
Well, you know, they brought the same thing about John McCain, because he was born in the Panama Canal Zone.
But that is a U.S. possession.
It was a military family, also military assignment. So, the Constitution says natural-born citizen, and that's never been defined. And Cruz maintains, look, I was a natural-born citizen. My mother was a citizen of the United States of America. My father was Cuban, but my mother was a citizen of the United States. So,
what do you think the answer should be?
I'm not a constitutional lawyer. I did take constitutional law, but that was a long time ago, Mark.
Talking to Ed Cox. By the way, if you have any questions, feel free to call the show, 624-0870, or text him along while Ed is on the phone with us. Our text line is 623-0373.
And some of the bigger state issues that are swirling around, Mr. Cox, I know. Well, homelessness, it's one of the executive orders I know the governor has thrown out there. The other is the minimum wage increase, and I know that's something that you have thoughts on.
Yeah, you know, homeless. You mean Mayor Cuomo, mayor of New York City, right?
There you go.
He's going to protect the homeless, despite Braden saying we're doing everything we can under the law. Well, we'll see how that one works out. But clearly, Cuomo and de Blasio are having differences. And that sort of goes into the fight with respect to the $15 minimum wage. This is serious for upstate New York. A $15 minimum wage would be much higher than any state in the United States. In fact, it'd be higher than any OECD, any other developed countries in the world. And, you know, we might even be going into a period of deflation now if you take a look where the markets are going and commodities are going. If we're doing that, it's bad enough as it is as a job killer, particularly for unskilled workers. If we had a deflationary period, it would be a disaster for New York State.
I would agree.
This kind of a big increase should be done at the federal level, not at the state level.
I agree with you because it puts New York in a position where we're not competitive with other states. And I think it's true that most minimum wage earners are not the primary wage earner for the household. Most of them are college students, people who work part-time, who need these jobs, and they're not looking to support the family. They're just looking to earn some additional income on that. Real quick question for you. Governor Cuomo today said we want to reduce the tolls on the thruway for businesses that use it regularly. We want to eliminate it for agricultural workers. I'll quote Bernie Sanders. Enough with the damn tolls. Can't we get rid of the whole tolls, get rid of them completely?
I predicted Mark would bring this up, by the way.
But Mark,
what more could we do?
How's he going to pay for the Tappan Zee Bridge then?
Well,
Which he hasn't told us how he's going to finance that. He's got some real fiscal problems.
There's all kinds of money that's being passed out, all kinds of grants. The thing that could be done that would be the biggest publicity that could be garnered for this state in terms of being friendly to businesses and consumers that would benefit every single person is to get rid of the tolls on the thruway, make every road free. Route 81 is free. 87 from Albany to Montreal is free. Make the whole thing free. The publicity we would get, and they would show that this state is friendly to businesses and to consumers. Everybody would benefit. Can you advocate that?
You raised a good point. Look, Cuomo's got two big problems. One, he's a job killer. This $15 minimum wage is going to kill jobs, particularly for the young people who need that first job, as you point out. Secondly, he's a ribbon cutter. He loves to pass out money for little projects, saying how many jobs. There's this one project in the Buffalo Billion. It's $250,000 per job it's going to produce. But he can go out there and cut a ribbon on this big factory that the taxpayers of the state are spending $750 million to build and equip for a company owned by a billionaire, Elon Musk. Now, and it was all done, and guess what? In 2014, his re-election year. And of course, he had some hard times in his first go-around for election in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So it's pretty clear what was going on. He loves to cut ribbons to get the publicity of them.
Talking to Ed Cox on the phone. Ed, the Republican committee chair, also paying attention to Preet Bharara, and there were some rumors about a potential indictment of the governor. Mr. Bharara has since gone on Twitter and has become very active with making comments on there. Do you think anything will develop along those lines early in 2016?
Well, it's interesting. What he has said, stay tuned.
Yes.
And everyone takes a look. When you take a look at a governor who promised to be ethical and he's going to end corruption in Albany, he finally appoints the Moreland Commission, gives the power of prosecution of corruption to the Attorney General. You can investigate anyone, including me and my administration. And about 4 or 5 months later, guess what? They're investigating him as administration, and he shuts it down.
Yeah.
And shuts it down quickly. And Preet Bharara rolls up his vans, collects all the documents, ends up indicting and convicting the leaders of each of the assembly and of the state senate. And then he says, "Stay tuned."
And
people say, yeah.
And Preet
we'll see what happens with that one.
Yeah, yesterday, Preet Bharara making some comments, telling those state lawmakers, as he spoke, I believe, in Kentucky, stop whining and take action.
Yes. I wonder what he's doing in Kentucky.
You never know. Maybe gathering some more of that paperwork. You never know.
Yeah, maybe gathering some more of that paperwork.
Having a bourbon with Rand Paul, maybe.
Well, right. Maybe Mitch McConnell. You never know.
Yeah.
And sticking a little bit with the $15 an hour wage thing, I know that's something that's really on your mind.
It's a serious about the job situation.
Yeah, increase for state workers as well being proposed. Some vacation leave time here. A lot of things being thrown around with this proposal.
Yes, and the governor's trying to foreclose discussion on it completely and say this is it. Look, there's no good policy reason for this to be done. And the governor's argument that he makes in loud, bold terms before the SEIU union down in New York City, he says, these people can't live in poverty. But let me tell you, it's not just young people who for this is good extra money. It's their first job, et cetera. But if you got a $9 minimum wage and you're the only wage earner in a family of four, there are federal programs that bring your income up to over $40,000 a year, so you have a decent living. And he doesn't mention that, so that people, even the person who's not the single young guy or woman who needs that first job, they're not living in poverty. He's wrong about that. That's a big lie. But then understanding that, he says, well, all these programs, they're a tax scam. No, they're not. His father embraced these programs. They've been passed on a bipartisan basis going back to Nixon and Moynihan, and Clinton and Gingrich beefed them up. And just in the most recent budget, once again, the programs involved here, food stamps and the earned income tax credit. Guess what? Paul Ryan and President Obama agreed on them again, and they're in the budget that was just passed.
And
so he's rejecting something his father embraced and has been embraced as good bipartisan policy for 40 years by calling it a tax scam. This is all about him trying to get in good with the SEIU 1199 union in New York City so he can get the Working Families Party nomination next time without having to beg Mayor de Blasio to help him do it. He wouldn't have gotten it last time if Mayor de Blasio hadn't helped him with it, and he knows he can't count on that again.
Well, maybe those two will be the first MMA fight if we can put that together. But
that would be a good one.
And I know you're going to, reiterate some of these comments today. You're making a trip right here to Utica, right?
Exactly. Yes, I'll be Utica and reiterating these comments. Look, this is very important with respect to upstate New York and jobs in upstate New York. a $15 minimum wage is going to be a big job killer.
You're right about that, because it will take people who would otherwise settle in New York with their business to go to a different state, because those federal benefits are available throughout the United States. So every state gets to take advantage of those. But when you raise the minimum wage in New York so that the employer has to pay the higher wage, and they have an option of going to Connecticut or going to Pennsylvania, that's where they're going to go.
Yeah. And
you know what the minimum wage in Pennsylvania is? $7.25. Half of 15. So where is the business using unskilled workers going to go? Going to stay here in New York? They're going to skitter across that long border with Pennsylvania so fast, make your head spin.
And then they can take advantage of those same federal benefits that are available to the New Yorkers as well.
We mentioned you are traveling. Cuomo talking about putting a freeze on throughway tolls, but the program would eliminate tolls for commercial agricultural vehicles. Dave and I had the idea this morning, just travel with a banana or something in your car.
Yeah, I had one this morning. I was going to get free tolls.
Best of luck, Ed.
Yeah. Well,
Ed, thanks for your time. We're bumping up against the break here.